What is the worst thing someone's bragged to you about? Ex-convict here. When I first arrived to prison, there was a guy on our tier that would brag about raping young children when he was out in the yard. He would hang out with other sex offenders and loudly talk about it. He wanted us all to know the fucked up details. One day he in the gym and some white boy beat him up. The guy collapsed on the floor in a sitting position unconscious, while his attacker kicked him in the face repeatedly till he was unrecognizable. The guard could only stand there and tell the attacker to stop until more guards showed up. That's the last time we saw him. This girl at a party was bragging that she was a fantastic drunk driver and that she could make it home when seeing double. She seemed genuinely surprised when half the party came at her for her stupidity. Never drive drunk for fuck's sake. They got second place for homecoming king back in high school. He was 34. I was in a car with a bunch of dudes I didn't know very well for a stag party. One of the guys started relaying a story his friend had told him, in a tone that clearly indicated we were meant to think the friend was awesome, about how he couldn't convince his girlfriend to agree to anal sex, so he just grabbed her during foreplay and shoved it in, even though she had repeatedly said no. There was an extremely uncomfortable silence, and then one of the other guys said, "So you're saying he raped her?" The guy telling the story quickly tried to change his tone to make it sound like he disapproved of his friend's behavior, but it was way too late. A guy that I met at a party once bragged to me about how many cats he's killed on the road. If he saw one crossing, he'd speed up and try to hit it. I told him that he was a terrible person and he and his friends laughed. Once the laughter died down, I deadpanned that I was serious. He spent the rest of the night sulking. My friend was in the army and came home on leave one weekend with a guy he became friends with. We were all drinking and shooting the shit. It was going good. And then me and his buddy get onto the topic of hunting and guns and things like that. He then told me that back home they get a lot of stray dogs and puppies, and for fun they would throw puppies in the air and shoot them like skeet. I was fucking appalled and have no idea why he would ever tell someone he had done that shit. Physically assaulting their mother. They thought they were a badass. The cops and I thought otherwise. Dude bragged to me about how he got kicked out of the army for showing his dick to an office full of mostly female contractors while stateside. Bonus points. I was interviewing him for a client that was considering hiring him for a decent position. Robbing old people. Guy at a friend's party was bragging about this one time he snatched an old lady's purse because she looked at him like he would do such a thing, so he showed her. I get maybe the lady was being prejudiced, but damn dude. The guy bragged about how many rabbits, deer, and pheasants he killed on a hunting expedition he went on without a license. When asked what he did with their bodies, he said he just left them there, satisfied to have hunted them down and killed them. One of my cousins gets weirdly braggy about being able to play video games while being drunk. I don't really mind it, at least he's not driving, but it always feels weirdly specific. Another instance is where a friend of mine semi-bragged. He was not telling it as an achievement, but as an interesting story to me about driving a two-wheeler drunk and hitting plus injuring an old woman, then managing to get out of the situation without a police report being filed. I listened to his story, then told him I had lost a friend in a drunk driving accident, and as far as I was concerned, drunk driving should be charged as attempted murder. We didn't talk much after that. My friend once bragged to me and another friend that the day before he punched someone so hard they fell backwards on their ass. The person they punched was 11 years old and his justification for punching a child was that he was insulting him and calling him names. Cheating on their partner. The worst part is they weren't. They just lied about it to impress everyone. Having an STD. When I was in my senior year of high school, there was this middle-aged guy I worked with who told me and a few other young employees that he had gonorrhea and genital herpes from having sex with countless women. I remember him saying something along the lines of "I fuck Allet. Guys. Like. Allet. I know I should be wearing a condom. But I just can't help it. These bitches can't get enough of me." I guess he felt pretty high and mighty to be bragging about having unprotected sex to a group of teenage boys. The douchebag ended up getting fired a few months later because he wrapped his arms around my female manager's waist while she had her back turned. I guess he thought it would be seen as cute, but she slapped the shit out of him and fired him on the spot. It was wild. She was married, so she wasn't having any of that shit. When I was a kid, my mom's boyfriend used to beat the fuck out of us on an almost daily basis. He was basically a psychotic animal who blamed us for his own shitty life and used us as a punching bag to vent his frustrations. One night he went out drinking at the bar. He came home with bloody knuckles and proceeded to tell us about the big scrap he got into with some guy at the bar. Apparently the guy mouthed off and he supposedly punched him out. Then he says all proudly with his chest puffed out, "So you see, I don't just beat women and kids." Wow. What a hero. My dad was bragging about his new girlfriend after he left my mom for her not even 2 days after leaving her. This doesn't sound bad, but I'm his kid. Showing me your text messages with another woman 2 days after breaking her heart is cold and heartless. My cousin dated a man in his 30s when we were teens, and her parents did nothing to stop it. I had an age-appropriate boyfriend and she once said to me, "My man gets a lot of disability money. Get a man like mine. Aim high." A hit and run at a parking lot of a rental vehicle that they got away with. I feel for the poor bastard with the rental. Hope they had insurance. He snorted cocaine while walking around Auschwitz. Has brought it up as his go-to badass story if other people at a party are talking about a cool activity they did on vacation. My mom had a friend who she always refused to go to lunch with because she always bragged and laughing about how, whenever she went to a restaurant, she would always ask for the manager and complain about something to either get her meal for free or a big discount. Even if everything was perfect. I've waited on idiots like that, and you do not want to know what have I wished upon them. This particular idiot in the army bragged how he knocked up his girlfriend so she would have to marry him. That was the first massive red flag on this loser. It just got worse from there. My scumbag and most likely psychopathic cousin bragged to me about how he enjoyed killing a dog with a throwing knife while I was examining it. Ex-Mill bragged to me about being physically and emotionally abusive to my ex when he was a child. I won't share details BC, that's his personal stuff, but it was horrifying. She laughed. I used to wonder how he didn't become a psychopath, but a few years later, yeah, dude turned abusive. So, not a friend of mine, but a friend of a friend. He bragged that he shoplifted about half his groceries each week. He had a list of groceries, and he'd work his list. This guy wasn't poor. He was just an asshole. He stole a mop once just to be extra Charlie. Steroids. I started going to the gym for the first time after 10 years thanks to my so, and I've really gotten back into it so far. A month back into it. Enter this guy I haven't seen since high school. Massive arms with biceps the size of my head. 6-pack abs. Viking style blonde beard and long hair. He looks like a damn warrior. Anyway. We notice each other, and we shake hands, and do the awkward small talk / catch up conversation. It went exactly like this. Him, "Hey, we're out of town. So good to see you. It's been so long." Me, "Yeah, it's been 10 years. Since high school." Him, "Man, time flies. I'm just about to try this new steroid." Literally holds up his gym bag. "I've been using Steroids, and it's been working pretty well. But my friends told me to try Steroid B because it works a lot better, so I'm excited to see if they are right." Me, literally the second thing to come out of this guy's mouth after seeing me for the first time in 10 years is him bragging about his new steroids and previous steroid use. I know it's not illegal or anything, but just a very weird thing to brag about. Getting away with spending as little time as possible with his own kids. I'm a pilot. I did a tour of an air traffic control tower. The guy giving the tour seemingly bragged that if you work here more than a year, you'll see people die. Dude, isn't your job to help prevent that? I know an idiot doing 50 years for first-degree murder. The real idiot part, the police got him to confess by stringing him along pretending how impressed they were with killing someone in such a badass way. I heard the confession. Unreal that anyone could be this stupid. Below is a brief segment. Cop, so you and the other two cornered him. All three of you had 2x4 pieces of wood. Idiot, yup. Worked him over pretty good. The beating lasted about 2 hours. The fucking punk wasn't gonna disrespect us again. Cop, sure sounds like you taught him lesson. At any point, did he turn into a bitch and beg you to stop? Idiot, oh hell yeah. He was crying and screaming before we even laid a finger on him. Cop, wow. I bet nobody is gonna want to get on your bad side again. Idiot, fuck no. Me and my boys rule the east side. You fuck with us, you get the consequences. Asterisk, this isn't exact quotes. It was more than 5 years ago, and my memory isn't so great. But the idiot was definitely trying to brag to and impress the police about how he killed someone. His statements were used against him, and he pleaded out to 50 years.